Hey guys, this is Derek Stark at Mira Vista, and this is a quick tutorial on a little module that I wrote that I hope will help you guys to reduce some denials. Andrea, in working with some of her clients, has, I think, run into several times where they're seeing a lot of denials for things that really can be prevented with a little bit better review up front of the billing review report. And so the problem is that can be a pretty unruly report to go through just manually. So I dusted off a module that I wrote several years ago, a little script that essentially applies rules. So it takes that billing review report, in this case out of Brightree, and it applies these rules to it and kicks out a list of the ones that you need to fix. In other words, anything that didn't pass each rule, it flags, and then you have a nice contained little work list that we can fix those in the billing system before the claims transmit and avoid an avoidable denial. Now, for this, I stripped it down to one rule. Primarily, what we're beta testing this with it is the KX. Essentially, it's a KX modifier checker. So it will go through your Medicare claim lines, and if it is a HCPCS that requires a KX and it doesn't have it, it'll flag it. You'll see how the model's written. We leave room to maybe or add some rules down the road. But we thought this would be a neat little free tool just to kind of help you guys do a quick diagnostic and perhaps use in your periodic reviews before claims transmissions. So what you're going to do is, now once you've downloaded you'll get the zip file from when you download it from the site, and you can save it really anywhere on your desktop. The thing really to remember here is that you have to save it somewhere where you have permissions to allow macro-enabled Excel workbooks. And all that really means is it's got a little bit of computer code built into the Excel file that allows it to essentially pull in your source data, apply these rules to it, and then kick out a report. They're typically not just allowed, enabled for everything, because they could be dangerous. You don't want to do that with somebody, where you don't have a file that you trust. But you'll see where you can enable it, but it's got to be on a machine where you actually have the permissions to be able to do that. So, you can save it on your desktop. I've created just a little folder on my C drive called BTVALLite where I save the zip file. This is what you're going to get from us. And so the first thing you want to do is, if you right click on that, and we're going to extract all, we're essentially going to unzip it. It's going to try to create a subfolder in the folder that's already in. I don't really care if it does that. So I'm going to extract it straight to the folder that I'm in. You'll see that it created a folder here that doesn't have a little zipper. And that just means that it's not zipped up anymore, and you can click on that and see the components of this application that we created. And we'll go through just real quickly what these components are. The reports folder is, once you've run validations, it will create a report and stick it in this folder. So you can actually keep your subsequent reports, because it won't write over them. If you do it this week and then do it next week, you can keep a history of them. The temp folder actually just has the template that it uses to write that report, so you'll never have any real reason to open that. And then down at the bottom here, this form FRM my reports preview.txt, that is, we have to save our billing review report in this location with exactly that name, because that's where the module is going to be looking for its source. This is not a blank file. This has actually got some dummy data in that we're going to use for the demonstration today, just so you can see how it works. And for those of you that aren't familiar, to get to the billing review report, and this is out of Brightree, you're going to go to the navigation bar. You're going to click on billing. At the bottom, you're going to click reports and then choose the billing review. And you'll just change the output type to the TXT text file selection. Choose request report, and then when it's done running, you're going to download it as this file. So you're going to write right over this one. But it has to be exactly that file name and in this location. So I'm going to open up the application. There's a couple of cheats in there, so you can just to help you cheat your way through it, remember where to save it. So this model only has one sheet. The rest of, there's some other sheets, but they're hidden because they're just the mechanics of what's working. These buttons right here is how you execute the computer script. This one is that cheat I was telling you about. Where do I save my billing review report? After you request it, then it's going to say save the billing report to C, and then it's just this folder that I'm actually running the file out of. So if you look back, you can see it knows, hey, pulls this and says save it right here as form my reports preview.txt. This one is actually the run validations button. This is essentially what makes the whole thing work. We're going to come back to that. What this is designed to do essentially is to look through your Medicare claims, and each user might name their payers differently. So you may name your different Medicare jurisdictions: Medicare A, Medicare B, Medicare C, Medicare D. By putting the word Medicare in the label here, in cell B12, essentially we're saying any payer that has that word, that string of characters Medicare in it, it's going to apply this rule to. If you say you don't use the word Medicare, you call yours okay, so let's say you do yours MCare A, MCare B, then you wouldn't have to put each one of those in. You would just put this string in here, and it would look for anything that has it. Any payer claim line, rather, where the payer field has that. So it would pick up your Medicare A, your Medicare B. You could also put in Cigna, Cigna Government Services, and it would go through and it would find that. But I'm going to go back to Medicare, since that's my dummy data uses Medicare in its naming conventions for its Medicare payers. So some basic instructions here, just to come back to. So we talked a little bit about downloading the billing review report, and we're going to save it to that file location that we got from clicking up here, but it's got to be named FRM My Reports Preview.txt. That's programmatically where this is going to go look to get that. Then we're going to click the Run Validations, and then it's going to write all this to a report. So essentially what it does is it goes through the billing review report, every line. I've actually tested this with billing review reports that have upwards of 10,000 records, and that takes 30 seconds or so. Here, the data set that we're demonstrating today only has 40, so it goes pretty quick. But it goes through every record, and it applies a series of rules. Now, in this case, this one just has the KX modifier rule. But you can see we could add other rules to it. And as those opportunities present themselves, or we get feedback, we certainly will look at the possibility of doing that. We just thought this would be a good little helpful tool, just very easy, very simple to use. But it writes those to report, and it takes all of the records that are in the billing review that don't pass those rules, it flags them and then puts them at the top of the report so that your billing staff can very easily go through them, go into Brightree, go to the claim, the invoice or the patient, fix it before it transmits, and avoid a future denial and all the work and time that goes into that. So we're going to use this data that I've already got in here, so we don't need to download and save it. But like I said, you would save it as the same thing. You just write right over that. I'm going to click Run Validations, and you can see it kind of doing a little bit of work here in the bottom. That's it running through the script. And then when it's done, it's going to pop you can see the report in the background here, and it gives me this dialog box that says, do you want to open the report? And it tells me where it's located. So this in this reports folder, you can see it's created this now. And so if I close this for whatever reason, I want to come back to it, that's where I would find it. But I'm just going to click yes, and it's going to let me look at it right now. And so you can see this has all 40 records in it if I scroll down. And again, this is all standard sterilized data, so no, it's not real. And it took all the ones that did not pass the missing KX rule, and it put this flag in the validations column in A. And then these that don't have anything in it, these are good to go. They didn't violate any rules, specifically with regards to this KX rule. So let's see what that looks like. So we know that for whatever reason, it's flagged this one. So we'll go over to this record, and we'll see that the payer, the insurance company, does have that string, that word Medicare in it. Again, if I typed MCare in it, it wouldn't have flagged this. So you want to set that Medicare label to however your naming conventions are set within your Brightree application. So, but it does contain that, so it's going to apply the rule to it. So the next thing it's going to do, it's going to look at the procedure code, and it's comparing this to a list of eligible or procedure codes that require the KX. If this is on that list and it's a Medicare claim, then it's going to look in the next 4 columns to see if there's a KX modifier. There isn't, and that's why we got the missing KX over in column A. If this had a KX, then it wouldn't have thrown the flag, even though it requires it. Well, it has it, and there's nothing for the billing staff to do, so it wouldn't have had the flag, and it would have pushed it farther down. So, you can see that rather than having to go through tons of records, you only go through the ones that are top and throw flags. We can go into Brightree. We can look it up by patient, which is here on column C. I think column Z has the invoice. So we can go straight into Brightree, remedy the problem before the claims transmit, and hopefully our next touch point with this claim will be to get paid. When you're done, you can save it. That way you've got a nice archive in the reports folder that you can open up again if you need. And then next week, when it's time to run validations again, you will essentially just run the billing review report out of Brightree. You'll write over this so that when you hit run again, it's going to pull new data and it'll create a new report, and you go through the same exercise. I hope this helps. If you guys have any questions or comments, please give us a call, or probably the best way to reach us is email us at info@MiraVista LLC. Hope this helps, and hope you have a great day. Thank you.